Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Julie and the Chamber. Thank you, Davis Bass and HPI and the other sponsors for making this possible. I'm just going to give it to you straight. As I prepared for today, I wrestled with what to talk about. I searched for something that illustrated where Kyle has been and the challenges we face today understanding our culture. Now I can stand up here and tell you that Kyle is the best, that we represent the gold standard, but that doesn't mean anything to you. And me bloviating doesn't do anything for the city of Kyle. It certainly doesn't move the needle. It would be nice if advertising was that easy. If all I had to do was proclaim, Kyle is great, the gold standard, and poof, critical mass was achieved. But the business professionals in this room that have ever spent $1 on marketing know it's just not that easy. It's not that simple, because talk is cheap. It's the understanding of who we really are that's important. In the 60s, during the heyday of the Madison Avenue Mad Men, two of the industry's experts coined the marketing term positioning. They explained the key to positioning is understanding where you stand within the marketplace, by understanding the position within the prospect's mind. When it came to advertising, they said the number one mistake businesses made was not how much money their clients spent or what mediums they chose to disseminate their message, but it was not understanding their true position in the marketplace. Now it can be challenging, especially in business, to take a step back and truly evaluate one's position. People pour their hearts and souls into making their business succeed. The way an owner or an executive views their business does not always align with how the prospect views their business. The prospect's view is the true position for that business within the marketplace. It doesn't matter what the business thinks of themselves or how they compare themselves to their competition that determines their position. It's the prospect's belief. The battle is for their mind. Now, these gurus of branding, marketing, and advertising teach that once you have honestly identified where you are positioned in the mind of others, you are then ready to effectively advertise. Only 7 short years ago, this was the gateway sign on Center Street leading into downtown Kyle. I can't tell you how long this sign was tolerated to exist in this condition, but it wasn't long after this picture was taken, the sign came down. A lot has changed since then. In the world of gateway signs, not only has Kyle made its mark with 2 locations on busy I-35, it has marked other territory at other major entrance points into the city. After a 3-year hiatus, new gateway signs were designed and approved by City Council in 2017 and erected in 2018. Now, these signs are a far cry from the old, rundown gateway sign that was on Center Street. Kyle's arrived. The city finally has gateway signs with all the bells and whistles. These signs were installed and looked great in the daytime. But it was soon realized that there was a design flaw. Something any novice, first-time gateway sign buyer might not catch. The maroon letters, while pretty during the day, will only glow one color when illuminated at night, orangish. As pretty as the gateway signs were during the day, they did not ultimately achieve the outcome Kyle had been striving for. They weren't bad. They just weren't what they were supposed to be, which is great. Great doesn't come easy to Kyle. The city is just now learning what it takes to be great, to embrace and enjoy its struggle for great. In the pursuit of great, the challenge we often face is settling for good enough. Good enough allows you to move on to other things, to concentrate and focus on what's more important, what's next. Going for great can lead to more headaches when good enough is better than what used to be. And clearly, the new sign is better than what used to be. Well, they say, the devil is in the details. Caring about our city's culture and not settling for good enough is often a painful journey. In the case of the Kyle Gateway signs, it came with growing pains, a little ridicule, and some public embarrassment. Kyle's pursuit of great allowed the city to endure the long-term learning curve to make the gateway signs what they had always been intended. Everyone remembers the wide E. That stayed up for months. What about the trash bags? It took a long 8 months for Kyle to figure out how to rewire, relight, and replace key elements of the sign. Facebook even let us know what they thought a few times and had a couple laughs at our expense. But that's okay, because we were struggling for great. I'm happy to report that as of last week, we finally figured out how to get what we always intended for the new gateway signs. Kyle didn't settle for good enough. We struggled for great. But back to what the advertising expert said. It doesn't matter how great Kyle thinks it is. Great is great when other people recognize it. Kyle is learning its position by attacking the prospect's mind, where the battle is. Kyle is making shifts in its culture by not being afraid to lead by thinking differently. I'll end with this example. Like many cities Kyle's size, providing public transportation can be a costly challenge. Several years ago, probably around the same time that old dilapidated gateway sign stood downtown, a bus system was introduced in Kyle. It ran 2 days a week, required riders to book a ride 24 hours in advance, and cost the city close to $100,000 annually. As you might imagine, the ridership was low, and after the first year, the average cost per ride was calculated at over $200 per ride. It turned out it was cheaper to send Kyle residents to Vegas than to give them a trip around town. The bus program was discontinued, but the need for public transportation still persisted in the years to come. In 2019, it was time to try again, and a council task force was formed to find a solution. The goals: get the cost per ride down to a reasonable price, create something everybody would be likely to use, make it available for the majority of the day, including evenings and nights. In the middle of COVID, Uber Kyle 314 was launched. Our program is simple. Kyle aimed to embrace the technology already in place by adopting a global service most everyone is familiar with. Kyle achieves point-to-point transportation, 24/7 access, at a fraction of the cost that had been paid in the past. Kyle Uber 314 provides Uber rides to anyone within the city limits of Kyle for $3.14, or as like the pie capital, we like to say, for pie. Kyle then subsidizes up to an additional $10 on top of what the Uber rider pays, with any ride beginning and ending within the city. Since launching the program in 2020, rides have increased month over month. Now let me tell you, Chamber, why I love this program. The goal was not only to provide public transportation, but it was to incentivize riders to spend their money within Kyle. The city does not subsidize riders to leave the city or spend money outside of Kyle. Kyle is truly looking after itself with this program. Currently, the city average cost per ride is only $7 on top of the rider's initial $3.14. Not bad from the previous $200 plus per ride. In our struggle for great, we look to extract maximum value out of every new program we develop. The city has used Uber Kyle 314 as an opportunity for our communications department to create a city mobile app. Kyle created an Uber voucher program where riders log in to the City of Kyle app to redeem a monthly voucher code for the Uber program. The voucher program ensures a strong driver to direct traffic to the app. This causes avid riders to spend to engage with the app at least monthly. As ridership grows and monthly engagement increases, this increases new opportunities for Kyle's communication department to entertain, inform, advertise to, and provide additional services to the end user. The city's willingness to use such a program is creating a model for other cities. The program has been written about in several transportation trade publications and is viewed as an innovative, cost-effective approach to public transportation. Elected leaders from around the state are reaching out to Kyle to learn from us, inviting us to speak at mobility summits. It's really exciting because we believe we are just scratching the surface on the value the Kyle Uber 314 program can provide to those living and visiting Kyle. As we strategically and surgically expand our service area, Kyle is actively struggling for great, to do the most good for our community by smartly creating maximum value. Within the next 30 days, there's a plan in place to look out for our veteran community and offer 314 rides to the VA hospital in Austin. And last but not least, we are also implementing an airport shuttle program for all of our residents to use to get back and forth once a month from the airport. These are just two small examples of how Kyle struggles for great. We might not be the greatest, but Kyle no longer settles for good enough. Thank you. Before I bring the mayor up here, I forgot something. Can I have the city council members come up here? If we have any of our Hays County commissioners, would you please come up here and join me on the stage? All right. So we have a special announcement. We have a staff that has worked really hard and a council that works really hard to put together amazing things, to struggle for that great, to look for the best that we can have in Kyle. And we got that today, and we're very excited to make this announcement. I don't want to speak too much on it because there's people who've worked a lot harder than I on this. But I want to thank you all very much. It was a long time coming, Scott Sellers, long time coming, Diana. You guys toiled like crazy for this, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without you. But it's my pleasure to announce to Kyle, Buda, San Marcos, everybody who wants to drive in and shop, we're getting a Costco.
They don't blow. They don't listen.
They don't listen.
Yeah, wait, doesn't.
Scott, did you want to come say something real quick? Right. Hello, everyone. I'd like to introduce Brian Whelan with Costco Corporate.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to be making a speech, so, but you know, I'm really heartened by all the excitement that we've drawn here. There was a council meeting this morning when the council took action on our on part of our project approvals that we need for this, and there are more. So we're going to be working toward that and hopefully trying to get open about this time next year. But I made the comment, someone from the council made the comment that they have been pursuing Costco for 10 years, and I personally have been involved for the last 10 years, so I can confirm that. And I can also confirm that the file that I have on Kyle is the largest that I have in my office. So I called it professional persistence. So it's really a culmination of a lot of things. Obviously, there's a lot of growth occurring in the market now. We are a relatively conservative company in terms of our expansion. We don't do a lot of new locations. So each and every location that we do, we analyze in great detail. Last week, I had the CEO of Costco here to look at the market. He looks at every site that we approve, and he gave us the final nod to move forward. So I'm really grateful for all of the support that staff, the mayor, council, and everyone has given us to date. and we really look forward to entering the market, hopefully about this time next year. So thanks to all of you. Thank you all very much.
I thought these were supposed to make a noise. It just doesn't make a noise. So, some folks are wondering where the Costco is going to go. It's going to be directly in front of Evo in the Endeavor Shopping Center. My name is Travis Mitchell, or my name is Mayor Travis Mitchell, as Mayor Pro Tem said. Thank you all for coming here. It's good to see so many familiar faces, also some new faces. You know, it's really been about 2 years since I came before the chamber body to speak about the state of the city. Last year we did it on Zoom. It was a little bit of a different time back then, but it's just great to see so many people here. Today's presentation marks the 4th time I've come before you to speak about the community we all love. I must say, with each passing year, it is becoming clearer to me that Kyle is a resilient town with a unique history and a very bright future. The official theme of today's presentation is Shaping Kyle for the Future. The unofficial theme is From COVID to Snowvid to Explovid. In truth, since the start of last year, we're all aware that our city has faced 3 distinct challenges. First came COVID-19, a disease so dangerous that governments the world over, including our own, issued emergency orders hoping to slow down community spread until such a time as a vaccine could be produced and widely distributed. I tell you, as long as I live, I never want to experience another 2020. So many of us were challenged in unimaginable ways during that time. In the end, we survived the year not because of government intervention, but through an entrepreneurial spirit and willingness to help our neighbors. Just one example of how we grew together as a community during COVID-19 has been the establishing of monthly food distribution events in Kyle. In partnership with Central Texas Food Bank, the City of Kyle and others have helped coordinate the logistics and volunteers to provide groceries to families in need. The first time this happened was in May of 2020, when our city felt like it was just completely shut down. It happened at the HBI site, so thank you, Davis, for your volunteering to give us that site. And I remember speaking with Councilmember Rizzo at that time about the efforts. And thanks to his leadership and the leadership of others, we were able on that day to load groceries in the vehicles of 1,416 households, which translates to 6,330 individuals. The event was so successful that we have since continued hosting monthly food distributions in Kyle. As of now, we have been able to provide groceries to 14,891 households, or 64,310 individuals. So thank you again to the Central Texas Food Bank, Councilman Rizzo, and staff. That brings us to Snowvid. Who can forget the week in February that all of Texas fell through a portal and landed in North Dakota? At first, the winter weather and persistent snowfall was exhilarating, especially if you have families and kids. We loved the snow. But soon, enjoyment turned to anguish as most of our community experienced prolonged power outages, coupled with unrelenting sub-freezing temperatures. To make matters worse, as the energy grid in Texas failed, so too did our water system. Here's some photos of Public Works employees working late in the night to try as best as they could to unfreeze the pipes at well site number 4. Can you see on the right picture, that's the main pipe there, completely frozen. And it can get cold, but if the water is running, it won't freeze. But when you lose power, those pipes freeze. You can't imagine the work that our Public Works crews did during Snowvid, working to keep our streets clean, to try our best to keep the water on. The water came back faster than other cities because our crews worked all night long to bring that water about. That said, thankfully, while our public crews worked around the clock, the school district came through in a big way during Snowvid because the water well at Hayes High was still flowing. In less than 6 hours, we coordinated a drive-through potable water distribution event where hundreds of residents were able to fill up canisters to be used for drinking and cooking. I've never seen a greater demand for hose water in my life than what we had on that day. So just a round of applause for our public works crew, for the school district, for the volunteers. And one more thing about Snowvid. This year, our public works budget includes the purchase of 7 generators to be permanently located at well sites throughout the city. Our hope is that these new generators, plus the proposed improvements of our electric grid by ERCOT, will ensure that we never again experience water shortages due to winter storms. Eventually, though, as the snow melted, as it does in Texas, and as vaccine distribution became more widely available and we started to get into a sense of the new normal, a third challenge manifested. I can sum it up with one tweet from our new neighbor, Elon Musk. Raise your hand if you know the tweet I'm about to reference. Not very many of you. All right, we'll throw the tweet up. Urgent need to build more housing in greater Austin area. He said that after Austin plus plus. I guess if you're a genius or maybe a techie, maybe you know what that means. I'm not sure. But Elon Musk brought his gigafactory to Austin. And with that happening just down the road in Del Valley, all I could think about was this tweet, greater Austin area. The gigafactory is not very far from us, and it felt like he was intentionally trying to pour nitroglycerin on an already white-hot housing market. It was very, very terrifying, to be frank, to read that tweet and to see what has been happening. But whatever the cause, the greater Austin area has been on a year-long residential development tear. Here are a few stats that puts Kyle's recent surge into perspective. This is new housing starts. So each year we'll show about how many new houses get built in the city of Kyle. You can see, going back to 2013, it's been a steady rise. We've always been a fast-growing community. The 1,233 new housing starts is 2020. The 950 is how many housing starts in the first half of 2021. Next is the median home value slide. And this slide is intentionally not very impressive. When you look at the tax assessor, the tax appraisal rolls, and you divide that by the homes, it gives you the true median assessed value, the amount that you were taxed on. You can see it has been going up from just over 200,000 to nearly 260,000. The next slide, though, will show you the reality. This is what has happened to the median home sales price of a Kyle house in the city of Kyle in July over July over July, 2019 to 2020 to 2021. So as many new homes as we are building, the demand is greater than the supply, and it's causing our housing market to explode, both in terms of quantity, but certainly in terms of asking price. And that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you view it. Certainly there are challenges with affordability, and certainly there are opportunities for us all to prosper at the same time. These startling figures demand that we have an answer to the question, what is the city doing about all this growth? And this year, I'd like to answer that question in 2 ways. Managing growth is always the theme of the State of the City address, by the way, in the city of Kyle, always. First, I would like to talk about 6 philosophies and best practices that we have developed at City Hall. You've heard a little bit about it already. And then I would like to quickly walk you through 7 big things that we are up to. So, philosophy number 1, get the big picture. My dad taught me to drive as a teenager. I'm sure most of you were taught how to drive by a parent. He always seared one concept into my mind more than any other when he would teach me to drive. And he would say, get the big picture. And he would do his hands like this. He would talk about, you got to see the traffic this way. You got to see the traffic in front of you. You got to be looking behind you. Always have your head on a swivel. Always see the big picture. Don't get myopic in your viewing. At City Hall, we try to make every decision in light of the big picture. And what is the big picture? Well, there are many ways to look at it, but let me just say this. If our population grows annually at 10%, and we think our population will grow at 10% this year, the big picture means we will reach 200,000 people in 14 years. I expect it will take longer than that, so don't y'all freak out too much on that. Probably much longer, because these kind of things are generational moments that we're experiencing now. But either way, every decision that we consider as a city should have that future reality in mind. Philosophy number 2, work hard. This may sound like a strange philosophy, but hard work is something that we expect of city staff, and we expect it of ourselves. And as most of you know, in Kyle, the mayor and council are part-time positions. They're not paid positions. That's what we have a professional staff for. We're not compensated for much of that time, and we understand that. That's why we got into this. That was always a part of the deal. But make no mistake, Kyle's leaders must set a tone of working hard and paying attention if we expect the city to prosper in these times. Philosophy number 3, set high standards. To be clear, when I say that we strive to set high standards, I mean we seek to extract the most from our developer partners, from city staff, the most from our resources, our contractors, and ourselves. In Kyle, as has been said, good enough is not good enough. Setting high standards does not mean we make no mistakes. Some of our mistakes, they make the rounds. We hear about them, and that's fine. In fact, setting high standards, I think, means that you're likely to make more mistakes because you're not settling for good enough. Whatever we are working on at the city, our belief is that it's not complete until we have achieved the desired outcome. Philosophy number 4, speaking of, budget for outcomes. Many have rightly noticed that city resources are growing. Of course, so too are the demands for services, and sometimes even higher than the increase in resources. People sometimes ask me, as mayor, what keeps you up at night? The truth is, nothing frightens me more than the thought of government resources being spent without a clear and narrowly defined purpose. More and more, Kyle City leadership is requiring that new investments must be tied to specific, measurable outcomes. One day, I hope our entire budget reflects this commitment. Philosophy number 5, establish task forces. You heard about the Uber Kyle 314 task force? Well, we have established task forces for dozens of city projects, and basically everything that I'm going to talk about from a project standpoint, there has been a subset of council, a subset of staff, and active and community members engaged in solving and progressing these projects. The more council wants to see something done, the more important it is for a subset of council to take their cues from the dais, not acting independently, but to be the tip of the spear to make sure that those projects continue forward. Philosophy number 6, cultivate team building. This philosophy has perhaps been the most elusive for council through the years. In my experience, it is incredibly easy and often enticing for elected boards and their professional staff to work independently from each other and at times against each other. That said, for some time now, the Kyle City Council has resisted that temptation by cultivating a spirit of camaraderie, levity, respect, and communication. We do not agree on everything, not even close. But each member of the council has been working hard to build trust among the other members of the group. And I cannot overstate how powerful it has been to watch this council work together with staff, with each other, and with the community to achieve common goals. All right, with those philosophies in mind, I would now like to quickly share with you 7 big things we're up for. Sound good? All right, number 1, parks. I had a big, long title. My wife said I had to bring them down to 1 word. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that. All right, here's a stat for you. In the last 6 years, Kyle's population has increased by roughly 50%. When I was first elected, the population of Kyle was 38,000. We are currently at about 58.5. We expect to be just over 60,000 by the end of this year. And think about this. If the park system in Kyle stays the same, the amount of park space available is proportionately reduced. When your town grows by 50%, if your parks department and your parks assets do not grow by 50% as well, everyone gets less services, not more, and certainly not even the same. This is not acceptable to our council. In addition to requiring neighborhood parks in most of our new subdivisions, the City Council has been working very hard to add several major upgrades to the public park system. In the Brick and Mortar District, formerly called Uptown, we have broken ground on 2 brand new world-class urban parks, Heroes Memorial Park and La Verde. Heroes Memorial Park is located directly in front of the Hayes Performing Arts Center. It will serve as an educational, reflective, and celebratory public space that will provide a variety of activities and experiences for all ages, as well as serve as a prominent gateway into the community. The inspiration for the park is right there in the name, Heroes. The City of Kyle has always valued the sacrifices of those who keep us safe, both domestically and abroad. I absolutely cannot wait to cut the ribbon on this park, which will endure as a generational gathering place to honor our veterans and our first responders. Next to Heroes Memorial Park, just a short walk away, in the center of the Brick and Mortar District, the City of Kyle has already broken ground on La Verde, a 1.6-acre park performance with an event lawn for gatherings of up to 2,200 people, performance pavilion, market spaces, interactive water features, volleyball court, dog run, and a one-of-a-kind playground. This is a park that must be experienced to be understood. And on that note, I have good news. Both Heroes Memorial Park and La Verde are on schedule to be completed in 8 months. As an aside, we're also working with the developer in the Brick and Mortar District to help expedite the expansion of the main retail street and the cultural trail that will connect the 2 parks. The idea has always been to be able to walk from one side to the other very easily, and construction on that infrastructure is envisioned to start in the latter half of next year, and we are hoping to have those roads installed and completed by 2023. Moving south to our historic downtown, the City of Kyle has also recently broken ground on a project to create, restore, and rejuvenate the sacred space known as Mary Kyle Hartson City Square Park. The premier improvement on that site will be a 20 feet wide new central promenade of brick pavers that will be going from the park north to south. There will be new circular paths, improved landscaping, increased seating areas, and much more throughout. The design will allow for the park to better accommodate events like Kyle Market Days, and it certainly reflects our vision for making downtown great. Mary Kyle Hartson Park is scheduled to be completed by November 15th of this year, just in time for crews to set up what I think will be one of Hays County's best overall lights displays this year. In addition to the 3 parks that I've mentioned, which are all in the construction phase with work being performed right now, the city is also in the design and planning stage on 3 more voter-approved park improvements. At Greg Clark Park, voters approved funds for the city to install our first skate park. The new skate park will be a wonderful complement to Ash Pavilion and the playgrounds and fields in that area. Councilmembers Ellison, Rizzo, and Flores-Cale are representing the council on this task force. We look forward to seeing those plans come into fruition. In East Kyle, we are making headway to design major improvements to all of our expanding citywide trail system. Kyle's trail system will provide a unique connectivity throughout the city. Our next big expansion will be delivered in hopefully around 2 years' time, and the focus will be on East Kyle. And in North Kyle, city leaders are working hard to develop Kyle's first regional sportsplex. This multi-field complex in Plum Creek will eventually boast over 20 soccer fields and serve as a draw for statewide tournaments. We anticipate thousands of visitors each year playing, shopping, dining, and lodging in Kyle, and generating what we hope to be millions of dollars in new revenue to the city and the county. So that's what we're up to, number one. Number two, commercial development. It has been said that commercial development follows rooftops. It may have even been said this morning. And that certainly has been the case here in Kyle. We were told that 50,000 was the magic number, and it certainly seems like maybe that's holding true. In 2020, Kyle issued new permits on 761,000 square feet of commercial space. Even during the pandemic, that was a record in Kyle. And yet, to give perspective, in the first 5 months of this year, Kyle has issued permits on 1.3 million square feet of commercial space, which means 2021 is going to shatter all previous records. Now, that may sound good to you, that may be scary, I don't know, we all have our own opinions. And I would say that commercial growth in the city of Kyle is a good thing. It is something that we pursue heartily. But this is where what I said earlier in the philosophy about setting high standards comes into picture. So I'd like to discuss incentives. The City of Kyle remains eager to offer incentives for high-quality commercial development. But I want to publicly state that, as I have pointed out, our standards are rising. Candidates for large incentives need to clearly demonstrate how they will help the city and our community prosper in the short term and in the long term. Costco will be able to do that, which is why we were proud to partner with them on an incentive. We are looking for high-wage jobs, high-end retail, vertical mixed use, vertical Class A office, boutique hotels, and sit-down restaurants. We need more sit-down restaurants. Buta's got enough. It's Kyle's turn. Sorry, Lee, I had to say that. Number three, mobility. You've already heard from the Mayor Pro Tem about our wonderful Uber Kyle 314 program, so I'm not going to mention that except to say how proud I am. It truly is getting attention from all over, and I can't wait to see that program grow. So what I would like to briefly mention is our current and upcoming road and mobility projects. In 2013, Kyle voters approved a road bond to authorize the city to construct new roads at Marketplace, Philomena, Burleson, Lehman, and Bunton. Who was around before those roads were reconstructed? Raise your hand. All right. I know my audience. That's good. We have now completed those projects, the last one, Burleson, being completed in 2021. And we have also, over that time, completed a variety of other smaller projects through contractors and through our internal streets construction division. Most who have lived here since 2013 will say that these projects have dramatically improved our road network. One of my favorite things to do is to drive down 1626. I hit Marketplace, I turn right, I go to Burleson down that street. I have a whole loop, Philomena to Kyle Parkway. Do y'all not ever just drive around in loops on all the roads and look at the roads? Well, I've done that. So the road projects are good, but they took a very long time. And that said, certainly we have more roads that need constructing and reconstructing. Currently, we are dedicating resources to fully engineer the following 5 roads. Old Stagecoach from Center Street to 2770, Center Street from Burleson to Stagecoach, Marketplace Avenue from 1626 to Kohlers. That'll be a new road, so we will match Marketplace Avenue, take it all the way up to the police station. Beebe Road from I-35 all the way to Goforth, and Windy Hill from I-35 to Indian Paintbrush. You'll notice that Windy Hill already has a road widening project that's going on. That's not the only widening that needs to happen. Our expectation is to complete engineering on these roads hopefully in the latter half of next year. Then we will ask voters to approve or authorize us to proceed construction, and we certainly hope that the voters will approve. Our plan will be for construction to commence on most of these projects the following year in 2023. And on that note, I'd like to show you a picture of the Master Transportation Plan map that Council recently adopted, I think 1 or 2 meetings ago. There it is. That's the big picture. And in fact, I don't think it gets much bigger picture than that. The red and blue roads with dashes, if y'all can see those, all need constructing. So it's certainly not a one-year plan. It's certainly not even a 10-year plan. It is the future of the city of Kyle. There are loops, there are bypasses. There's a plan for 2 more overpasses on I-35. You can see how many overpasses that there are. We've been working with TxDOT to create that plan. The good news is that many of these proposed roadways, like the 110 loop, the 150 bypass, I don't think we have we don't even have a name for the one on the east side. It's like NC-17 or something, you know. But these roadways pass through undeveloped land, and it's very intentionally designed that way. Our intention is to pursue partnerships with developers, with the county, and we will be looking to draw down state and federal resources to bring these projects to life. This is certainly on the council's agenda. Number 4, public safety. On September 17th of this year, here in just a few weeks at 10 a.m., city leaders will gather to break ground on a new 64,000 square feet public safety center, which will be located at the intersection of Marketplace Avenue and Kohler's Crossing. This project has been years in the making, and we hope you all can attend that very important groundbreaking. The size and layout of the building will replicate the brand new police stations in New Braunfels and College Station, although we've made a few exterior tweaks that, thanks for our task force, the building I think is going to look better than theirs. Both cities, New Braunfels and College Station, have projected that 64,000 square feet, which is the size of the plans, will be more than enough to accommodate their growth for decades to come. In Kyle, our modeling shows that 44,000 square feet of space will be more than enough to accommodate for a minimum of 20 years of growth in our police department. Of course, with the projections that I have already showed you, we know that since the time that analysis was completed, it likely might be shorter. We also know that other city departments who work regularly with the police are already out of space, just like the police. Therefore, once completed, a little less than 1/3 of the Public Safety Center will be used for a temporary city annex until such a time as the police department grows into the entire space. So in addition to the fiscal reason, we also really like the idea of having a public-facing side to the Public Safety Center. That's because in 2020, a national discussion took place where people of different backgrounds spoke passionately about what they think the role of proper policing should be in their community. The city of Kyle was an active participant in that discussion. City leaders worked with members of the community and members of our police department to set up plans to further improve our community relationship, which is already very strong. What we have heard loud and clear from our residents is that, by and large, they do not want less policing. They want access to our police. They want dialogue with our police, and our police is one of the best at promoting those things. We have pursued that goal by founding a recurring panel series called Dialogues for Peace and Progress. Hosted at City Hall and moderated by Councilmember Ellison, the dialogue series has generated robust and healthy discussion about what it means to live in a flawed society while at the same time pursuing goals to bring about healing and reconciliation. We are also working to bring about the city's first voter-approved police oversight commission. Proposition F was passed overwhelmingly last November. Our hope is to have that commission established later this year. The goal of the commission is not to lord over the police. The goal of the commission is to create transparency in policing and to pursue access to information that will help the city council and the police department set policies that are supported by the community and for the betterment of all. Number 5, downtown Kyle. I've already mentioned the work being done at Mary Kyle Hartson City Square Park, but in addition to that park, the city is continuing our important work in Hays County to relocate rail siding away from downtown. This is a project that is taking a long time because it involves the city, it involves Hays County, it involves Campo, and it involves Union Pacific. That's a lot of entities to coordinate a big project, but that project is still moving forward. We are also working to remove and relocate the power lines that are around our square. If you've been to our square, it is beautiful, but there's not a very good view of the square without low power lines hanging all around. We've been working for a while to get those power grounds rerouted and undergrounded so that the square will be allowed to shine more beautifully. And we are installing the final 2 out of 4 total quiet crossings through town. City Hall is right next to the train tracks. I'm thinking about Cindy. She works right next to the train tracks and others. That train will stop a conversation as it comes through, and it does it primarily with its horn. The first 2 quiet crossings that have been built have been done so through developer contributions. The second 2, the city is now getting ready to install. Once all 4 are completed, Union Pacific will no longer be required to blow their train as they come through the city of Kyle. And as a smaller note, this recently happened, so I'll mention it. The city of Kyle is now in contract to acquire this property between Wallace Middle School and Greg Clark Park. It is right next to our park. We have no immediate plans for the property, but what I can promise is that it will be cleaned up soon after we close. Last 2. Number 6, water, wastewater, our favorite subject. The largest 2 capital projects that the city has undertaken is the expansion of our wastewater treatment plant and our water sourcing partnership with the Alliance Regional Water Authority, which the city of Kyle helped to found in 2007. The treatment plant expansion is well underway with construction and will be online next year. I have mentioned the expansion in every state of the city. That's how long it takes to build this kind of infrastructure. And our water project, which will bring in water from the Carrizo Aquifer in Gonzales County. The Alliance Regional Water Authority is a partnership between Buda, Kyle, San Marcos, and some other entities. It's a big water project. It is now approximately 2 years from delivering water. Bottom line, the state of our wet utilities, as they are called, is good. Our wastewater system is expanding with the growth, and we are setting up to have enough stable water capacity to match demand in Kyle for the next 50 years. All right, number 7, last but not least, maintenance. I saved the best for last, really. If there's been a theme in this State of the City address, and with Mayor Pro Tem's remarks as well, is that we are not settling for good in the city of Kyle. We are pursuing great. In this year's address, I have tried to make the case that unprecedented growth must be matched by strategic investment of city resources. But we do our city no favors if we construct roads and parks, build buildings, lay sidewalks and trails, all without preparing to maintain those assets in good condition into perpetuity. Our new Environmental Trades and Services Division is tasked with doing just that. Created in this year's budget from multiple departments, the new division is specifically tasked with maintaining our gateway signs, mowing right-of-way, illegal dumping and trash removal, street sweeping. We have 26 targeted areas where we street sweep regularly, plus a rotation through our subdivisions, street light maintenance, decorative light maintenance, and graffiti removal, among other things. We're hoping to build the department into other kinds of maintenance very, very soon. We are also having this division manage contracts with private contractors to deliver top-level maintenance to our newest parks and along our major traffic corridors. I don't know if you've noticed, but the main roads from 2013, the roads bonds that we put together, those roads are nice. If you drive down them, there's no weeds in the sidewalks. The grass stays mowed. We regularly pick up trash, and we do all that because we have pride in our community, and we certainly believe that maintenance is worthy of being a concluding remark. So, in conclusion, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who came here today to learn about the state of this wonderful community, this growing community, this small city. I wish I had more time to talk about the things that I haven't been able to mention. I would love to talk about our library department, our communications department, all the different things going on in public works, stormwater infrastructure. The list goes on and on and on. But I thought these were the most important topics to cover. So, and I would like to give, in addition, a special thank you to Hays County and the Hays CISD School Board and the school district. It has been said that you can't accomplish anything alone. If you takes a lot of people to move a piano. We certainly would not be able to achieve the standards that we set out to achieve without having great partners. The school district and the county partner with us in many valuable ways. They don't get the credit oftentimes that they deserve for their partnership, and so I'd love for us to give them a round of applause right now. I would also like to say a word about our city manager, Scott Sellers. Don't freak out. Scott surely has the toughest job in the world. Maybe Dr. Wright could give him a run for his money, though. That's true. He has to balance the feedback he is constantly hearing from all 7 members of council, as well as staff, as well as the public, while trying to execute on a wide range of projects and initiatives. Very few people know just how much you burn the candle at both ends. But I want to say it here publicly. You have really developed into an exemplary city manager. We're all very proud to have you, and we're thankful for the contribution you have made to this city. Let's give Scott a round of applause. That's it. I don't know how long that went. I appreciate you all staying, listening so attentively. It's great to see the community growing. Have high standards. We believe in the future of this city. We're going to make it great. And seeing you all here today, I just know that we're going to get there. So thank you all very much.